What's on YouTube? It's Pete TT coming at you with another Division video, and today guys I'm going to be doing a video kind of like my own state of the game. Okay, there are a few issues that I know a lot of people are talking about. They've been floating around social media, they've been floating around Discord, absolutely everywhere you can think of. Some of these things have been kicking around. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, and to be honest, for those of you who are aware, the Dark Zone Report have been holding DZR Gear Up Weekends. Now, we've just had the second event, and you guys that tuned into streams and things will know that I've actually been doing quite a bit of work with these guys on stream and off of stream as well, and it meant that I've had the chance to play with an awful lot of players that I wouldn't normally have got to play with. And some of these issues are things that we talked about on stream, off stream, and things like that. And some of you guys have had some really cool ideas. So, before we go too far, guys, okay, I'll hold my hands up. Not all these ideas are mine. A lot of them have come from people that I played with over the DZR weekend. But I thought that they were such good ideas, some of them, and some of the issues that were brought up need to be talked about. I thought I would bang a video together for you. If you have any comments on any of these things, make sure to let me know in the section down below, because like I said, a lot of them are really good ideas. I would love to know your opinions on them and things like that. If you're not following Dark Zone Report, guys, make sure to head over to Twitter at Dark Zone Report. Give them a follow. You can also follow them, darkzonereport.com. I shall leave all the links in the description down below. Let's kick it off then with what is by far the big elephant in the room. It's the issue that everybody is talking about, and that is PvE endgame and NPC health, okay? We are all very well aware that the NPCs, when it comes to things like heroic incursions, heroic underground, are way too spongy, alright? They have so much health, so much armor, it really is a pain in the ass. Now, if you guys have seen some of the videos and streams that I've actually done with some of the DZR guys, you will know that we have run quite a few heroics now, and we were running with 3 reclaimers and 1 sentries, and yes, with that team setup, we blitzed heroic, okay? Absolutely blitzed them. They went down so fast, it's unreal. But to get yourself to that point where you can do that, you need to obviously get through the heroic mode first, and hope to the RNG gods drop you the gear that you need to do it. How can we fix this then? Okay, well, there's a few different things that they could do. Obviously, they could lower the health and the armor values on the NPCs. But personally, my feeling on this is actually we just need a level increase, alright? It's happened in Destiny. They give us light increases, which are very similar to our gear score increases, giving us higher stats. But I think overall, we do need a level increase to close the gap between us and them. I am aware that this will obviously make kind of the older hard missions, challenge modes, things like that very, very easy, but kind of going forward with the life of the game, that has to be expected, okay? When you look at Destiny as an example and you look back to the Vault of Glass, that thing is incredibly easy now that we are super geared, and Bungie are aware of that. But the way they look at it and the kind of feeling around is that the Vault of Glass was that kind of first thing we went into. It was super hard at the time. As we've geared up and the years have rolled on in the Destiny life cycle, Vault of Glass just become a really easy thing, but it's become really fun. However, new players to the game will still find it hard, and that is kind of the core aspect around it. And that is what I think needs to happen in the Division. I think they need to kind of bring in a massive balance hammer here, okay? And the way I personally believe that doing that is to give us a player increase, okay? I know, like I said, it will make the earlier endgame activities a lot easier, but I think it needs to happen, because when you look at the next 6 months of the Division's lifespan with new DLCs, new updates, incursions and things like that, it is going to get to a point where people are turned off of the game because they cannot complete endgame activity. Now, I'm not thinking a crazy player increase here. We're currently level 30, maybe 32 or 34, means that things like Falcon Lost will become a bit easier. That I think everyone would love, because I still think that is way too much of a grind with how lengthy it is, but it will close the gap in the newer endgame activity, Dragon's Nest, Underground. They will become a little bit easier, but it also means that when they massively bring out the new DLCs, then they're going to have something to work off of, because again they slowly start increasing the level again. We start to get a bit more, it becomes a bit tougher, it becomes a bit harder for us to complete as the levels increase. If you think the next DLC is probably going to bring in level 36 NPCs, we really need to close the gap up, okay? I think that's a little bit of enough of me talking about that, guys. A lot of you are obviously aware of the situation. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. How do you think Massive can go around fixing the issue and the big gap that is there between us and the NPCs and endgame activity? Right, let's move on then to the Dark Zone. This, again, is something that is a major issue for a lot of people, not just on the NPC side of things, but the PvP side also. Now, I'm going to bring up quickly the nerf to Strikers and Sentries and the fact that the Tactician build never actually received a nerf. Now, Massive have obviously come out and said that they are aware of the issue. Being aware of an issue and sorting the issue are two different things, okay? This is something that really gets my back up because I was a striker player, okay? I used to run a full setup of strikers, as you guys know. We used to run a sentry setup. We've now had those nerfed, and we are forced to run a different gear set or a 5-piece of the gear set we had before, meaning we can't run things like Final Measure. And that, I really do believe, was a very stupid move on Massive part. Forcing players to run a certain way because they think it needs a nerf is completely out of the question, okay? Especially when they left Tacticians alone. If you go into the Dark Zone now, into the 2-3-1 bracket, it is incredibly hard. The NPCs melt you. You need 2 Final Measure. That means that if I want to run my Strikers or Sentry builds and make the most of them builds, I can't do it because I can't run a 5-piece. Now, yes, I can run the 4-piece, but what is the point in running a 4-piece when the 4-pieces, or the way it was before, the things that made them so strong at gear sets have now been moved to a 5-piece, okay? It's just, I can't comprehend why they've done it. They just made it so hard, and they're trying to force players to do different things. Now, I am aware, as you guys are, that things needed to change. I think they went about it the wrong way, but we will talk about that a little bit towards the end. Let's get back to the PvP side of the Dark Zone then, okay? A lot of people love going in the Dark Zone, farming the AI. Okay, yes, the AI are a bit of a pain in the arse. They need to have something sorted about them. But let's say that's been done, okay? Let's say they've given us a player increase, or they've lowered the health and armor, and it's not as easy as it used to be, but it is definitely a lot easier than it is now. A lot of people still have issues with the Dark Zone in the way the PvP works, okay? Because you can go in and spend hours farming NPCs, killing them, getting yourself some really good loot. You get to extraction and you just get shit on by a tactician that can just sticky bomb the entire team, and you can go 4v1 and not kill them, alright? And it infuriates people, okay? Myself included. You guys know this already. How do we solve this? Well, when I was playing with the DZR guys over the weekend, one of the guys had been thinking about this a great deal. He's a crazy PvP player. He has 4 characters. He has them all at rank 99 in the Dark Zone. He loves the Dark Zone, and he came up with a very good idea that I really like, and that's what I'm going to include in this video. So his way of fixing it is give the players an option what server to join. PvP enabled or PvP disabled. The DZ is still a place to gear up, but some want it without the PvP. That, quote unquote, is what he said to me. And he's right. I love the Dark Zone. Okay, I love going in and I love farming the AI. I love the fact that they're tougher, and it's just kind of this different experience that you get in the other PvE world. But I hate the PvP right now. If I could opt to go into the Dark Zone and, you know, you get into the checkpoint, and before you open the door, you actually have up on screen an option come up, PvP enabled, PvP disabled, I would pick PvP disabled 100% of the time. I'm a PvE lover. The fact that the Dark Zone is still one of the best places to gear up, but it is still the most unbalanced place to gear up, really does get my back up. I don't know what you think about that, guys. Would you love to see an option of playing in the Dark Zone with PvP disabled, okay? Now, I'm not saying that it would be no other players in there. Obviously, you know, it would basically be the Dark Zone as it is now, except friendly fire would be turned off, okay? You could shoot at another player all day long, but you wouldn't kill them. You wouldn't go rogue. I think that would be really cool. To add into that then, obviously, if an idea like that came around, in the PvP enabled side of it, we were talking about how you would kind of make that viable and try to get people into it, and we were talking about a rogue vendor. So rather than, you have your 99 Dark Zone rank, but it would also give you another rank in the Dark Zone, and it would be like a rogue reputation rank. There would be another vendor who had some gear to sell, and rather than your normal Dark Zone rank, you would need a rogue ranking, and the only way to get that rogue ranking up is to go rogue and survive it. if you go rogue and you don't survive it, you lose part of that rank, a bit like you already do with your Dark Zone rank and things like that. I thought it was a really cool idea. It would definitely go some way to bringing some balance into the Dark Zone and the PvP side of things. Again, guys, let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Right, let's move then on to loot drops, okay? Loot drops are indeed better now from the new patch, okay, but they are still far from perfect in my opinion. I think RNG as a whole is something I would love to see gotten rid of in every game, okay? Not completely gotten rid of, before you start raging about it, guys, and don't listen on any further. Not completely got rid of, but a little bit more specific, okay? So, my idea of fixing the loot drop system, and I ran this again past quite a few of the guys I was playing with in the Gear Up Weekend, and a lot of people thought it was a good idea. So we're going into, say, the underground, okay? Before we start the underground, before we get on the train, you actually have an option of all your gear sets, and they would all come up, okay? So you would have your Nomad, your Strikers, absolutely everything would come up on a list, and you could pick one of those gear sets to get as your reward. That way you know you are guaranteed, say, a Strikers or a Tactician or a Reclaimer's gear set upon completing that activity. However, to keep the RNG aspect in, you cannot select what you want. So, gloves, chest, whatever, they still drop randomly. So, you know, we're going to the train, I want Reclaimer set, okay? So I select the Reclaimers as my end game reward. I know 100% if I complete this activity, I will get a piece of Reclaimers, but I have no control over what piece of Reclaimers it might be. Not only will this help people finish off gear sets, but it will make it seem far less annoying. You know, there's so many gear sets out there at the moment. If you're chasing one piece, you could be chasing it for weeks or months before you finally get it. I mean, I've got whole builds sitting in the stash that I've never been able to complete because I've never had the pieces drop. For example, my sentries. I've always had 3-piece sentries. I've never had more than that. When teammates do get it drop, they're already running sentries, so I'm happy with them keeping it rather than dropping it for me. They need it to improve their current setup. So I've never been able to complete a full-on sentry set. If I could select it as a guaranteed mission reward, that would make me very happy. And then it would just be a case of keep grinding out your activities with that option selected until I finally got the piece I needed. I think that would be a really cool way to fix some of the loot issues. Again, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about it. Moving on to the final thing I want to talk about in this video then, because it is pretty lengthy, I didn't mean to waffle on so long. Let's talk about old gear sets, okay? They are incredibly overpowered. We know that. Tacticians, one of them. Strikers and Sentries were indeed overpowered. They took a nerf, taking the 4-piece power into a 5-piece. I actually think that there is a better way to resolve the issue with older gear sets that Massive want to force us away from. You know, the new gear sets are really, really cool, but people still don't want to play with them because the older gear sets are clearly still so much more powerful, Tacticians especially. How do Massive fix this overnight then? Well, actually it is very, very simple, guys. They need to do exactly what Bungie did moving into the Taken King and leave everything behind. So everything that we've had so far gets left behind at its current level, and we get introduced new stuff that is of a higher level, meaning that yes, you can still go back and play with your older gear if you choose to, but you are going to be severely penalised for doing so. Rather than keep nerfing the sets that we have and still having overpowered sets, I think it will be a far better way to go around things, to just reset the playing field back to the original kind of level. It's not just Destiny that this is happening, it's happening a lot of games over the years, and it really is the only way to restore balance when you've made such powerful things as Strikers, Sentries and Tacticians. We've seen it with things like the Thorn, the Galahorn. The only way Bungie could force people out of it was just to not carry them forward anymore. They've obviously then spent a year or two rebalancing them, and we're getting them come back in Rise of Iron, and that's really cool because it means that they've actually worked on it and brought it back later on down the line, and players are going to be really excited about that. And if I knew that we were going to get reset on everything, and you know, we would have 6 months, a year, 18 months, whatever, of playing with new stuff, but eventually when they've managed to rebalance and tweak the issues around Strikers, Sentries, Tacticians, things like that, I wouldn't have an issue with that. Okay, I would look forward to going and playing with them again and seeing how they've managed to tweak them, change them and things like that. Anyway, guys, I've waffled on nearly 15 minutes now. If you've listened to the end, thank you very much. It's really appreciative. Let me know any comments you have in the section down below, guys, about any of the topics we have talked about. Some really good discussion points, I think. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe because there are plenty more Division videos coming your way. I nearly said Destiny. I nearly did it. Yeah, plenty more Division and Destiny videos coming your way. Agents, thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, I'll catch you all soon.